Welcome back, friends. Yes, her home life did not break the willow, as Sarah said. Teresa of Avila, October 15th, a doctor of the church, lived in a very. See if these times sound like anything you might be
That's
familiar with.
exactly right.
It was a very tumultuous time in society and the church. Ecclesiastics were compromised, and the Reformation was sweeping Europe, and Spanish Inquisition used in her home country of Spain. So civil society is in tatters. The church is run amok. Yes, there are some holy people. Teresa of Avila is one of them, but in large part, they're reprobates. Let's just be honest. They're reprobates. And this is where she finds herself. And contra to Luther. So I think it's interesting to look at, if you will, a secular person. So with Therese of Lisieux, we had Frederick of Nietzsche. Here with Teresa of Avila, you could say Martin Luther.
Yes, absolutely.
Or Zwingli, or them.
Yeah.
And instead of destroying the church, she reformed it.
Right.
She was a Carmelite nun, prominent Spanish mystic, religious reformer, author, theologian of the contemplative life and of mental prayer. She earned committing, I think this is a sin of Wikipedia here.
Probably.
Rare distinction being declared a doctor of the church, which we discussed in the previous episode with Therese, but not until after 400 centuries, 400 years after her death.
Well, that's because it took a long time to read through her stuff. Come on. How do you read through the seven-story, the inner castles, right?
The inner castle.
Yeah.
So that's exactly right. I have done, Therese is, I'm a student of Therese.
Right.
I have various manuscripts and so forth, so on. And I realized, much to my shock, when I was working on these episodes, I couldn't remember if I'd read The Interior Castle. Shame, shame, shame. So if you're looking for, if you have it, great. Not tell you to go out and buy it. But if you haven't bought it, and when you're buying Carmelite works, like Therese of Lisieux or Teresa of Avila, John of the Cross, Edith Stein, whatever.
Right.
You want to kind of look for the Institute of Catholic Studies, ICS, down here at the bottom. They do good translations. They have good notes. They help to put things into context. It's generally readable, and you can feel confident. Therese of Lisieux, there's some works out there that her sister translated or took notes or made modifications. And the same is true with Teresa of Avila. There was a brother, a priest here in Carmel, who would somehow find some things would strike him as odd. So they're going to make some adjustments.
Right.
They're pious. I'm not, but right. We want a little bit more. We could approach it with a little more purity, if you will.
Right.
And
well, I was just going to say, like Saint Teresa of Avila, if you're looking for meditative peace, I mean, this is her life, right? I mean, so to think that we have to go outside of our own faith traditions, to reference back to a show a couple shows ago about something like yoga or something like that, to think that we need to go outside of our tradition of faith to find peace and meditation and quietude is to have failed to plumb the depths of your own faith before you went your own little sea before you went searching for adventures somewhere else. And Saint Teresa of Avila, how does one plumb the depths of her mysticism and of her contemplation?
That you can't.
You could spend a lifetime reading The Interior Castle.
You can't. And I found I I was having the same response to the interior castle that I do to Thomas à Kempis, The Imitation
Yes.
of Christ.
Right.
I go along swimmingly for about halfway through the
Yep.
book,
Right.
and I see the chasm between what
Yes.
they're presenting, and I see me, and
what you want to do. I know it's like, okay, time to put that book down, and we'll try it next
it
time.
is.
I do the same thing with Flannery O'Connor. One of these years, I'm going to actually make it through all of her short stories. And I figure if I can make it through Flannery O'Connor's short stories, then maybe I might be able to approach St. John of the Cross, right? The Dark Night of the Soul.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Similar
Yes.
kind of thing. Yes.
Yes.
But that's what I mean. But we have to recognize, though, that in Saint Therese of Lisieux, right, of the Holy Face, there's going to be a reflection of her mother.
Oh, without a doubt.
And by her mother, I mean Saint Teresa of Avila, right? She may be the gentle introduction, because it's not as though Saint Teresa of Avila's teachings were somehow lost on Saint Therese. Rather, they were received in perfection, and in a manner that makes what Saint Therese of Avila lived, like, or concretized in her teachings, accessible to the general person today, because Saint Therese simplifies. It's her grace, right? Her grace is to simplify the.
That's exactly right. She is accessible, and I would want perhaps, and I don't know if it's too fine a point on it, but because of Teresa of Avila's understanding within spirituality, that gives Therese a foundation for her to really explore trusting and love and mercy without it devolving into a cotton candy spirituality, which is
right,
quite frankly is which is running rampant within people who claim to be Christian, right?
Right.
And so Teresa is, if you will, perhaps part of that undercurrent, because Teresa is, and you go through her work, she is no slouch when it comes to the moral life, not at all. So if you've got that understanding, then as we say, God is merciful, and God is a father, and he only wants to, and he accepts our littleness. He knows our weakness. We know Therese of Lisieux isn't going to just therefore go lie in a hammock somewhere.
Right.
And, say, well, everyone's going to heaven. There's no hell. And that's where you go, but right, without a good foundation that I think she has from her mother, as you rightly call her.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she truly is. I mean, that spirituality. I mean, it's a bit of a tragedy, because, in the sense that the French Carmelites they're just a powerhouse. I mean, they really are. And when you think back to the French Revolution and the martyrs of Compiègne, right? The Carmel at Compiègne, able to, with their, I often think of them, singing their hymns of praise as they were walking to the guillotine, right? It is that firm foundation of depth of spirituality, right? That Saint Teresa of Avila was able to imbue in her order, that sustained their order for so very, very long, really truly culminating in a new doctor being born from their order, right? I mean, I don't know how many orders have double doctors. I mean, I'm sure that there are more than one. Probably the Dominicans probably do, I would imagine. Maybe. Actually, I've never really thought about that, but I mean, it really is quite striking.
John of the Cross is a doctor. He's a doctor in the church too.
Right.
Yes. We're going to stop there, and we're going to pick up, since October is Right to Life Month. I think maybe we're just going to have a show devoted to it. Till the next time, my friends, Fides et Ratio.